Hey there, and welcome to Boys Love Story, where we bring you touching BL school romances that will warm your heart and stir your emotions. Each episode on this channel is a unique journey of love. Whether it's sweet, slow burn, dramatic, or healing, our stories are crafted to make you feel seen and comforted. Today's story falls into the school BL genre and is all about young love, emotional growth, and moments that make your heart flutter. Title: Doing Homework Together and Growing Feelings. Genre: School BL, sweet romance, light drama, happy ending. So grab your headphones, especially for announcements that might affect his grades. Alright, class, Miss Sato began, pushing her glasses up her nose. For your midterm history project, you'll be working in pairs. I've already decided the partners to ensure everyone gets a chance to collaborate. A ripple of groans passed through the room. Yuto frowned slightly. Group work wasn't his favorite. Too many chances for distractions, misunderstandings, or, well, other people not doing their share. Miss Sato began reading the pairs aloud. Tanaka and Maeda. Suzuki and Haru. She paused, scanning her clipboard. And Yuto and Kaido. Yuto froze for a second before looking up. Kaido? The Kaido who sat 2 rows back, always tapping his pencil or whispering to friends in the middle of lessons. The Kaido who played for the soccer team and was almost never on time with assignments. A light thud sounded on Yuto's desk. Kaido had leaned over from behind, resting his chin in his palm with an easy grin. Well, guess you're my ticket to passing history, Kaido said with a smirk. Yuto's eyebrow twitched. It's a group project. You have to do your share. Of course, Kaido replied, voice full of mock innocence. You're the perfect grade insurance, though. I'll sleep easy knowing you've got my back. Yuto didn't bother responding. He simply straightened his papers and told himself to endure it. It was just one project. After school that day, Yuto was surprised to find Kaido waiting for him by the shoe lockers. Library? Kaido asked casually, adjusting the strap of his sports bag. You're coming? Yuto asked before he could stop himself. Kaido chuckled. What, you thought I'd bail on the first meeting? Yuto considered it. Yes. Harsh, Kaido said, but his grin didn't fade. Come on, let's go before all the good tables are taken. The library was quiet except for the soft shuffle of footsteps and the occasional click of keyboards from the computer area. Sunlight streamed in through the tall windows. Yuto raised an eyebrow. Do you even have a functioning pen? Kaido rummaged through the mess. Yeah. Somewhere. He finally found one and held it up triumphantly, like he discovered buried treasure. Despite himself, Yuto let out a small laugh. Kaido's grin widened. Was that a laugh? From you? Wow, I should write this down. Just focus on the work. You're actually trying, Yuto said without thinking. Kaido looked up. What, you thought I was all talk? Well, I can work hard when I want to, Kaido interrupted, leaning back in his chair. I just don't usually want to. But, he tapped his pen against the paper. I guess I don't want to let you down. The words were so casual, yet they made something tighten in Yuto's chest. He looked away, busying himself with stacking their notes. They worked until the librarian announced closing time. As they walked out together, the evening air was cool, carrying the faint scent of the bakery down the street. Hey, Kaido said suddenly. You're not so scary when you're not glaring at me. I wasn't glaring, Yuto said. You totally were. Saturday afternoon sunlight streamed through the classroom windows as Yuto closed his textbook and checked his phone. Kaido had sent a single message. Library's full. Plan B? Yuto frowned. typing back quickly. Where? Kaido's reply came seconds later. My place? Don't worry, I'll clean. Yuto hesitated. It wasn't that he was nervous. Okay, maybe he was. Visiting someone's house, especially someone like Kaido, felt different from meeting in the library. Still, the project deadline was coming up. Fine. Text me the address. Kaido lived in a modest two-story house on a quiet street, the kind where laundry swayed on balconies and bicycles leaned against fences. Yuto rang the doorbell, clutching his bag a little tighter. The door swung open to reveal Kaido, wearing a loose t-shirt and sweatpants, hair slightly messy but somehow still looking like he'd stepped out of a sports magazine. Hey, you made it, Kaido said, stepping aside. Shoes off, unless you want my mom to glare at you through the walls. Yuto slipped off his shoes and followed Kaido into the living room. The table was already set up with notebooks, pens, and a tray of snacks, potato chips, chocolate, and a plate of neatly sliced apples. You actually prepared? Yuto asked, surprised. Kaido grinned. I told you, I can work hard when I want to. Plus, I figured snacks would keep you from running away. They settled at the table, and for the first half hour, they focused on the project. Kaido read passages aloud while Yuto typed notes on his laptop. Every so often, Kaido's foot would tap in rhythm with the music playing softly from a speaker in the corner, some light pop song that made the atmosphere strangely relaxed. When they paused for a break, Kaido slid the plate of apples toward Yuto. Eat. You've been staring at that screen like it owes you money. Yuto rolled his eyes but took a piece. You sound like my mom. Your mom sounds wise. The banter came easily, and Yuto found himself comfortable. More than comfortable. He wasn't used to this, sharing snacks, music, and conversation that wasn't awkward or forced. Halfway through the session, Kaido stretched and leaned back, his chair creaking. Man, this is way better than the library. No shhhing every 5 seconds. It's also easier to get distracted. Yuto pointed out. Not my fault you can't multitask. You're literally the king of distractions. Yuto said, unable to hide a faint smile. Kaido leaned forward, resting his chin in his hand. As Yuto packed up his things, Kaido walked him to the door. Same time next week? Kaido asked. Yuto hesitated for only a moment before nodding. Yeah. Neither of them noticed the girl walking down the sidewalk at that exact moment. Sana, long hair, sharp eyes, was a classmate who had been on friendly terms with Kaido since middle school. Yuto noticed the glances first. Quick, darting looks when he passed by, then hastily turned heads. At first, he told himself it was nothing. But then Sana leaned over to a group of girls near the lockers and said just loud enough for him to hear. I mean, maybe Kaido just needs more than history help, you know? A ripple of laughter followed. Yuto's ears burned, but he kept walking. Confronting her would only make it worse. At lunch, Kaido plopped down across from Yuto as if nothing unusual was happening. It started with small things. Choosing a different seat at lunch, walking a slightly longer route to avoid crossing paths in the hallway. There they were. Did you see them walking home together? They're totally dating. No way, Yuto's not into that. How else do you explain him going to Kaido's house twice? Each overheard snippet felt like a tiny needle under his skin. Yuto didn't care much for popularity, but he had always valued staying out of drama. Now, it seemed impossible. By Friday afternoon, Kaido had clearly noticed. Hey, Kaido said, catching Yuto just as the final bell rang. Got a second? Yuto froze, his bag half-zipped. I'm kinda busy. Busy doing what? Avoiding me? Kaido's voice wasn't loud, but it carried enough bite to make Yuto flinch. "I'm not," Yuto started, but the words tangled in his throat. "Then explain why you've been acting like I'm contagious all week." Kaido stepped closer, his expression caught somewhere between confusion and hurt. Before Yuto could respond, a loud, teasing voice broke through. Well, if it isn't our school's cutest new couple." Hiroto, one of Kaido's soccer teammates, leaned against the doorframe with a smirk. "You guys fighting already? Can I come in? Or are you going to make me eat these alone outside like some kind of tragic character in a drama?" Despite himself, Yuto stepped aside. "Fine. But only because I don't want you getting sympathy points from the neighbors." They settled at Yuto's low table, notebooks spread out. The onigiri were surprisingly neat, one set filled with tuna mayo. The mood lightened, and soon they were back to their old rhythm, Kaido teasing, Yuto rolling his eyes, but smiling anyway. At one point, Kaido leaned over to point at Yuto's notes. "Trust me, I've noticed." When Kaido finally left, Yuto stood at the door a moment longer than necessary, watching him walk down the street. Maybe the rumors wouldn't stop. Maybe people would keep talking. But for the first time all week, Yuto realized something important. Avoiding Kaido had hurt far more than the whispers ever could. The final pages of their project were almost complete, and the weight of looming deadlines was finally lifting. Yuto and Kaido had spent countless hours side by side. Their desks cluttered with books and notes, their conversations slowly drifting from reluctant cooperation to genuine laughter. So when Kaido suggested celebrating at the weekend school fair, Yuto almost refused. He wasn't good with crowds or noisy places, and honestly, the idea of adding public attention to the mix made him nervous. But Kaido's easy grin and the promise of fair food and, most importantly, no homework, were hard to resist. "Just for today," Kaido had said, pulling Yuto by the sleeve. "You deserve a break." The fair buzzed with energy, the smell of grilled corn and sweet crepes mixing with the distant hum of excited voices. Colorful stalls lined the schoolyard, lights blinking softly even as the sun began to set. Yuto felt his heart skip when Kaido reached out, intertwining their fingers without hesitation. The simple touch was warm and steady, grounding him in the noisy chaos around them. They played games, Kaido winning a stuffed bear and tossing it to Yuto with a triumphant laugh, and shared bites of fried chicken and sugary cotton candy. "What do you want to be when we graduate?" Yuto asked, watching Kaido's eyes glow with amusement and hope. "Honestly, I want to surprise everyone. Maybe something that has nothing to do with soccer." Yuto smiled softly, surprised by how much he enjoyed seeing this side of Kaido. "I'm sure you'll be amazing at whatever you choose." But the moment wasn't just theirs to hold. From across the fair, Sana's sharp gaze caught the scene, Kaido's hand in Yuto's, their laughter mingling. Her lips curled into a subtle but unmistakable smirk. Later that night, as Yuto scrolled through his phone, his heart sank. There it was, Sana's post, a blurry photo of them at the fair captioned, "Look who's more than just project partners now, smirking face, #NotJustFriends." Comments flooded the post quickly. Some were supportive, others full of snide remarks. Yuto's chest tightened, panic rising like a wave. He didn't know what to say, or how to face Kaido the next day. But when school came, Kaido was unfazed. "So what if they know?" Kaido shrugged, a defiant spark in his eyes. "I'm not embarrassed to be with you." Yuto blinked, caught off guard by the simplicity and strength in Kaido's words. "They'll talk," Yuto whispered, "and not all of it will be nice." Kaido's hand found his again, fingers tightening in reassurance. "Let them. I'm not about to hide who I like." For the first time, Yuto felt the courage to smile back. From that day forward, their friendship, no, something more, became theirs openly. Yudo felt a flicker of nerves twist in his stomach, but as his eyes landed on the crisp A+ beside their group's name, a rush of relief and pride flooded through him. Kaido caught his eye across the room, a triumphant smirk tugging at the corner of his lips. "Top marks," Kaido whispered, leaning slightly closer so only Yudo could hear. Yudo smiled. But his mind wasn't on the grade. Instead, he thought about the afternoons in the library, the snacks shared, the laughter that made the hours fly by, and the unexpected comfort he found just sitting beside Kaido. After class ended, the hallways filled with students rushing out, excited for the weekend. Kaido caught up to Yudo near the exit, his usual easygoing expression softened into something quieter, more genuine. "Hey," Kaido said, his voice low enough to feel like a secret between them. "Want to meet up? No homework this time." Yudo blinked, surprised. "No homework." Kaido chuckled, scratching the back of his neck. "Yeah, I thought maybe we could just hang out. Just us." The invitation stirred a flutter in Yudo's chest. He hesitated only a moment before nodding. Okay. That afternoon, they met at the small park near the school. The sunlight filtered through the trees, casting playful patterns on the worn wooden benches, and the path where kids tossed frisbees and chased each other. Kaido was already there. Sitting on a bench with his hands clasped loosely between his knees, looking less like the carefree soccer player everyone knew and more like someone waiting nervously for a chance. Yudo walked over, sliding down beside him. For a few moments, they just sat quietly, watching the world go by. Finally, Kaido turned to him, his eyes softer than usual. "You know," he began, "I really like studying with you. You make it fun." Yudo's cheeks warmed, and Kaido's gaze didn't waver. "But," Kaido continued, "I like just being with you more." Those words hung between them, gentle and honest, and Yudo felt something inside loosen, the fear, the doubt, the hesitation. He smiled then, really smiled, without holding back for the first time in what felt like forever. "Me too," he said quietly. The park grew quieter as the sun dipped lower, the laughter of children turning into the soft rustle of leaves in the evening breeze. They stood and started walking along the winding path, shoulders brushing now and then, no longer something to shy away from but a comfort they both welcomed. Neither spoke for a while, letting the quiet speak for them. It wasn't the loud declarations or grand gestures that mattered. It was these small moments, these easy silences filled with shared smiles and glances. As they neared the edge of the park, Kaido reached out, his fingers gently intertwining with Yudo's. Yudo's heart fluttered, but he didn't pull away this time. Instead, he squeezed Kaido's hand, anchoring himself to the warmth there. "Next time," Kaido said with a small, confident grin, "let's meet without any homework at all." Yudo laughed softly, the sound like music in the quiet evening. "Deal," he replied, feeling lighter than he had in weeks. They walked the rest of the way home together, hands still linked, the promise of something new and wonderful unfolding before them. For once, homework could wait. Thank you so much for spending time with Boys Love Story today. We hope this episode touched your heart, made you smile,